Aviwe, no doubt there's already quite a bit of movement that is happening between the borders as people prepare to head back to school or work. I do see there behind you that officers are prepared for this and have come out in their numbers to monitor these movements.
Morning, colleagues. Certainly the situation just outside Messina. I'm 10 kilometers away from that Beitbridge border where already there's a roadblock here. A lot of action, joint operation, in fact, between the South African National Defence Force, the Traffic Police, the police, South African Police Service, Home Affairs, as well as Customs Border Control, just monitoring the traffic coming, especially from the Beitbridge direction. But I want to take you to an area of concern, which has always been of concern, colleague, and that's, of course, around the loose borders in the country. My colleague, Masilo, is going to show you just now the undocumented Zimbabwean nationals that have been nabbed here, which are waiting now then to be taken from this position, which is about 10 kilometers from Beitbridge, transported back to Zimbabwe. In the course of the morning, in speaking to the officials that are on the ground, colleague, they tell me that no less than 50 have been nabbed just at this spot alone. You'd understand that there's a number of roadblocks situated right around this area trying to nab those undocumented immigrants. We do understand in conversations that I've had with the minister just this time last year that around 500 undocumented Zimbabwean nationals get nabbed on a daily basis here. But the scary thing, colleague, is just around the thousands that make it through here because of the loose borders, essentially, basically non-existent borders, because we saw the fencing ourselves littered with holes there, and they even have specific route names for them that they're using, the N1, the N, thousands of routes basically around the border. I guess that's the focal point here as the Zimbabweans trying to make their way back into the country. A lot of them undocumented, and I was having a conversation with just a number of them trying to get an idea how they make it to this point. We do understand there are people that are helping them in exchange for money, not going through Beitbridge directly. But of course, we're expecting the Minister of Home Affairs to be here, currently at a meeting now being briefed. We do understand alongside some other government officials, including the MMC of Community and Safety, as well as the MMC of Health and the mayor around here. And we're expecting them to start at this very roadblock, tackling some of those issues here.
Absolutely. Aviwe, you've mentioned something quite important, the fencing at the border posts in the country. This was a very contentious issue last year, and Minister of Public Works, Patricia de Lille, in conjunction with your Aaron Motsoaledi and other stakeholders, had assured us that there would be an investigation and the situation would be remedied. So it's quite worrying that you say that there are still holes in the fences, and it doesn't look like much has been done to remedy that particular situation.
Certainly, colleagues, even the police, the people that I'm talking to here talk to those very roads that they've now named them themselves. It's not even an issue of loose borders. It's an issue of non-existent borders because if you go through those borders, there's nothing essentially. And what's concerning is that it's from the young to the old, the elderly, different people, the majority that get nabbed. I remember last year we went in ourselves into the forest, meeting a number of them. It was like a cat and mouse between the South African National Defence Force as well as those Zimbabwean nationals. The majority that would be nabbed are the women that couldn't run away per se from them, but the gents would run circles around the South African National Defence Force. And the people that get nabs are those that try to go through the official lines. I was speaking to some of them on the ground here. They tell me that while they do have passports, the issue is basically in Zimbabwe, where I'm not sure what the situation is there, but they don't have permits currently, which is becoming a stumbling block, as you do understand the desperation for many to come back and basically try to provide their livelihoods with the people that their families basically back in Zimbabwe. So that will be the contentious issue, especially the issue of the fencing itself and what has been done about it, because we heard those promises previously, and it looks like it's still quite a contentious issue this very moment, colleague.
And then a final thought from you, Aviwe Mtila. Have you spoken to some of the police officials throughout the morning, and have they indicated that they actually cooperate quite well with Zimbabwean police forces in terms of curbing all of these issues that you've mentioned, or is it solely a South African police issue and there's no collaboration?
you'd see that the joint effort, the majority of it, colleague, happens from this side of the border. A lot of cooperation, as I mentioned, the number of stakeholders involved in trying to nab these undocumented Zimbabweans, taking them back to Zimbabwe. But what we found out, especially last year, this time when I was here, early beginning of the year, the issue is on the other side of the border. We're told that while the illegal immigrants get taken here, get sent back to Zimbabwe, because officially there's nothing much that can be done from this side. They can't be arrested, essentially. Hence, they've been taken back to Zimbabwe. The issue then becomes on the other side of the fencing, where they're basically let free again. What was surprising was that the following day, when I was here last year, those very illegal immigrants that were nabbed and sent back to Zimbabwe, we saw some of them getting rearrested back on the South African side and were sent back again. So it seems like a fruitless effort to take them back, and they let free on the other side. So that would talk to the very question that you're asking, colleague, around what happens on the other side of the board. It seems it's quite loose there, with no proper control in tackling this issue.
Absolutely, lack of control indeed, but it is encouraging to see that many boots on the ground, and of course you'll continue to provide us with updates as the Minister makes his way there and speaks about a plan really to tighten up those non-existent borders as you've described them, Aviwe Mtila, and ensure the safety of everybody who's travelling between the borders this festive season. Senior reporter there, Aviwe Mtila, following that story that's happening at the borders as people prepare to come back to work or school or just find some economic freedoms in the country.